Yo, we are live. It's been a while. How are y'all doing? Yahoo! Woo! Welcome, my beautiful brothers and sisters, to the Aquarian Adepts, my platform, our platform, to become your spiritual server. And today, I'm playing with swords. This is my trusty sword here. It does have a name that I will not disclose at this moment, but it's okay. And this is just a representation of my actual sword. Anyways, how are you all doing today? I know I probably look really nerdy with this right now, but I honestly do not care. As you can see about the title of this video, it is about radical courage and strength to be our authentic self, to be who we really are, and whether or not we have the courage and strength to express who we really are, and we take actions on it. Oh crap, Jaded on the background. Sorry guys, just have to vibe a little bit. One of my favorite Dead Mouse songs is on the background. How are you all doing? Are you all having a good time? How has your week been going? My week admittedly has been going up and down. So, but it's okay. We're still here, still moving forward, still doing the best we can. Excuse me. The given resources. It's probably about 11 o'clock at night, Thursday, heading into Friday. I did work all day today, but I said I was going to go live, so we are live. Today we're going to be talking about the new moon solar eclipse that's happening in Leo. This is going to be around 5:45 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Saturday. So it's really interesting because it's going to set the tone for the entire day. It's going to be a very powerful, powerful day. Anytime you get a new moon, a solar eclipse, it's all eclipses are portals, but it's a very interesting portal because it's definitely setting the seeds for a new beginning, you know. But it's also a moment for us to overcome many types of fears that we have and anxieties, right? And that's interesting because the ancients and stuff, they used to fear these eclipses, or they they didn't have as much information about them, or at least the common people, the people who were in the knowledge schools and those type of societies. They knew more about what these eclipses meant, but for the most part, a lot of people within the masses were afraid of eclipses. Now, and just to let you know, we have eclipses every single year, whether it's a solar eclipse or a lunar eclipse. We have eclipses every single year, but they are still very much so rare events where our consciousness goes through this massive shift. And I almost like to think of it as this. I like to kind of view the sun as, I mean, it's a star, but I kind of almost like to see it as like this laser. It's kind of being pointed, right, through a prism. And when these eclipses happen, they're actually they're kind of changing the laser in a bit. So and it seems like it doesn't do anything to us here. It seems like the sun doesn't really change, right? But what I feel on a deeper level is that when we have these solar eclipses and the moon eclipses the sun in the new moon phase, what's actually happening is that light that's being shined on us is being tweaked and altered. And depending upon your level of awareness, and it happens to everyone, but depending upon your level of awareness, you begin to download the information that the new star or the upgraded star is shining on the populace and humanity in the world at that time. You'll be able to feel more into those energies quicker. Now, it affects everybody, um, but I feel like with these eclipses, it's actually really the universe tweaking the energy of the sun a bit, tweaking it just a bit so that now the information that's being shined on us vibrates at a different level. Therefore, we're receiving different types of downloads. And that's just my personal theory. So, um, cheers. So, yes. Now, there's a lot of interesting things with this new moon solar eclipse. It's very unique in many ways, and I even was like researching it a bit, and I was drawing parallels to other new moon solar eclipses that happened in Leo, and it's kind of interesting. I actually pulled up, I think it was like 3 separate eclipses that actually happened at the same degree of 18 degrees of Leo, which I thought was interesting. But then I also noticed similarities. I can go ahead and pull it up. I'm surprised I didn't actually write it down. I wrote down some notes here, but I didn't write down this one particular note. And I wish I should. I wish I had, but that's why the laptop is here, right? So we're going to pull that up. Hope y'all can hear the dead mouse in the background. Beautiful music. And it looks like my computer will die if I do not hook it up to power. Unfortunately, I have the thing right here. Let's plug this bad boy in. Your battery is running low. You might want to plug in your PC. Okay. Here we go. All right. All right. So first of all, let's talk about this eclipse, and then I'll kind of talk about a little bit because I was like, when I was studying this eclipse, I was taking my notes for it and stuff. I was coming across a lot of interesting information, of course. Um, at the time of me making this right now, the moon is actually at the edge of Cancer. So going into tomorrow, the moon will actually be in Leo, and we'll be really in the dark moon phase officially. We are in the balsamic phase of the moon, technically, but we'll really enter into the dark moon phase. And really probably in just about an hour or so. It won't be too long before the moon shifts into Leo. So that's the interesting thing about leading up to this eclipse. The moon's been in Cancer. We so it made oppositions, of course, Pluto retrograde, Saturn retrograde, and we're really trying to emotionally kind of understand this new shift that we are about to go on, that we're about to embark on. And this is a major shift point. This is a major decision point and an action point. This new moon solar eclipse is happening at 18 degrees of Leo. Now, what does that really mean? What separates, 1 degree from the other? In order for you to get like really deep on that, I would highly encourage you to check out Christopher Wysecki. He's another astrologer, and he really goes into each of the degrees and what they mean, and it's really quite phenomenal. You can find him on YouTube, and then he has like his own personal service. But I would definitely highly check that out. But the interesting thing about this energy is that since it's at 18 degrees, it takes the energy of the 1 and the 8. So it has the 1 energy, which is represented by the sun, I love, and then the 8 energy, which is represented by decision energy in Capricorn. So it's like we're actually deciding to make a decision. We actually are deciding on something based on what our heart wants, what our heart really desires. And then when it nets to the 9, it's about taking action with the Aries energy. So this is actually going to be a new solar eclipse where, to kind of put it bluntly, we are going to decide on a desire that is in our heart or something that our heart loves, and then we're going to take action on it. Now, we have to, of course, look at what else is around this eclipse to kind of figure out how it's going to play out. And of course, it's going to play out in everyone's life differently, especially depending upon what house it falls for in your chart. Like for me, it's falling in my 9th house, just barely in my 9th house. This is falling in my 9th house. So this has to do with my sense of belief, kind of belief in myself. It has to do a little bit, with, of course, with spirituality, knowledge, wisdom, school, adventures, going and traveling different places. So this is really going to, set me up with the house that's falling in to really begin to restructure my beliefs. So I actually have, so I can eliminate self-limiting beliefs that keep me in a more confined, constricted place, and to adopt beliefs that actually open up my mind and open up my heart and open up, my world to all of the possibilities that are out there. But that's just the example for me. So it's going to play out differently for you based off of where it falls in your chart. The way to know that, of course, is to know your ascendant. Um, Now you can calculate it based off your sun, but it's more accurate if you know where your ascendant is, because your ascendant, of course, that begins your first house, right? So for me, my ascendant is Sagittarius, so that's why this is falling for me in my ninth house. Um, but what else is going on around this eclipse? Well, we do have seven retrograde planets at the time of this eclipse. This is unheard of. And I was even trying to look to see if there are any other eclipses, new moon solar eclipses in Leo that had this amount, and I couldn't find any. Like I think I went as far back as like the 1930s, and I couldn't find them. And then I went forward like two whole like cycles, and I just couldn't find any. I think the most I found was four, and I can even look that up here in a bit. But seven retrograde planets. Now, what does that mean? Well, anytime a planet is retrograde, that means that the energy is kind of turned inward. I like to think of it as like you kind of have to work double to I don't even say necessarily work double to get that energy. It's just since it's turned inward, a lot of times we don't think about going inside, to express these energies. We like to project. We live in that kind of world where these energies have to be projected out. But really, with the retrograde planet, it's in review time. That's what I like to think of it. So these planets are turned inward. And of course, you can review things as far as like the society, but it means that these energies are turned inward. So seven planets or seven energies are retrograde during this time, right? That is Mars at 0 degrees of Aquarius, Chiron at 1 degrees of Aries, Uranus at 2 degrees of Taurus, Saturn at 3 degrees of Capricorn, Mercury at 14 degrees of Leo, Neptune at 15 degrees of Pisces, Pluto at 19 degrees of Capricorn. Seven energies are turned inward now. The only planets that are going forward is the Sun, which always goes forward, the Moon, which always goes forward, Jupiter, and Venus. That's it. Because technically the nodes are always going backwards. Think about that. Think about how many energies are turned inward and how much of our life is in like a bit of a review period. But then even look at the planets that are going forward. Of course, the Sun and Moon, they always go forward. But now they're in the sign of Leo, which has to do with the heart, opening up our heart. It's the sign of, children, play, joy, expression, creativity in many ways, romance. I like to say authenticity. Not that any of the other signs aren't authentic, but I would say like authenticity as well. Jupiter is forward, but look where Jupiter is. I'm not gonna say it just dislikes being Scorpio, but it has a little bit of anxiety with it. Why? Because it's about to come into Sagittarius, which is its home. Jupiter right now is wanting to expand and explore. Right now, it's exploring the underworld, right? It's exploring the darkness, the depths, hell. If you want to like put it bluntly, like Scorpio in many ways can represent hell, but it's not necessarily. Sometimes we like to project a certain ideal of what hell is on, and then since Scorpio represents the hidden, the occult, that darkness. Sometimes we shove things into the darkness that we think we don't want, and this is usually based off of what society has projected onto us and what society thinks is best for us, right? This is about shared resources, right? So we shove these things into the closet, but Jupiter is wanting to expand that. Jupiter is literally like going into, it's like opening everyone's closet and just pulling out the file cabinet. And it's like people be trying to put like locks and different kinds of bolts and locks in their closets, and it's like Jupiter ain't freaking having that, especially considering the fact that technically Pluto is sextiling this energy. And Pluto, of course, is at home in Scorpio. That's where its ruling sign is. So it's funny because like Pluto, which is in Capricorn, sextiling the energy of Jupiter in Scorpio. So it's even promoting it. So it's like no matter what you try and hide under wraps, whatever like that, Jupiter is literally opening up the closet and just there's like a giant file cabinet of all the stuff that you've been trying to hide, and it's just like pulling it out. And it's just like going, and you're just like, all right, let's look at this file from such and so day, whatever, and you did this and you felt this. You really had this desire, but you held it back because your mom said this, or your dad said this, or your colleague said this. That energy is going forward. So even though Jupiter is usually associated with positivity, you know, Jupiter is usually, it's usually the sign of positivity, hope, expansion. Jupiter's the party animal. I like to think of it as the DJ of the zodiac as well. But look where it is. So it might make people uncomfortable, you know. And then you have Venus, which is in Libra, which out of all of the signs right now, the only signs that are home right now are Venus in Libra, the Sun in Leo, Saturn in Capricorn, and we have Neptune in Pisces. The problem is that it's not really a problem, but the thing is that two of those energies are retrograde. So Saturn's not at its full strength, and Neptune's not at its full strength, you know? But you do have the Sun, which is at its full strength in Leo, which arguably you could say is the strongest energy that you get. It's the Sun being in Leo. It's the largest energy, you know, but arguably when it's in Leo, you can arguably say that of all the energies that you'll experience, this is the strongest energy. So anytime you get this new moon or eclipse, or any new moon that you get in this area, or a full moon in Leo, it's a very, very strong, potent energy. Like I said, we don't have a lot of energy that's going forward. We don't, not with this eclipse. In fact, if you look at it, there's like a small chunk of the zodiac that actually have energies that are going forward. Because you have to take it. All right, so at the time of this eclipse, Mercury retrograde is going to be at 14 degrees of Leo, right? Now, the Sun and Moon will be at 18 degrees of Leo. So there's like a little spot in between there. But essentially from about 18 degrees of Leo or so, all the way through to Sag, because there's no energy there. But I mean, that's the thing, there's no energy there. So it's like only about half of Leo, Virgo, Libra, and Scorpio. And I guess you can kind of include Sag, but that's like if you're willing to actually have the vision and believe in yourself, that you can look forward and like kind of aim right. That's the interesting thing about it, because there's no energies there. The moon will of course come into that space later, but there's no energies there. That's the only part of the chart that has direct energies. Everything else, in order to get to it, you have to go through an energy that is retrograded. Because we have Saturn and Pluto retrograde in Capricorn. We have Mars retrograde in Aquarius at the time of the eclipse, which will come back into Capricorn the day after, by the way. Neptune retrograde in Neptune, right? Chiron in Aries. Over half of the chart is retrograded, guys. So that means over half of our consciousness is looking inward. We're looking in for the answers. This is not a time to look outside of you. This is a time to look within. And yes, there are people that are making videos like this and, are sharing their voice. And this is kind of our way of looking within too. But it's like, and there's nothing wrong with, and this is a consuming of information. There's nothing wrong with consuming this information or even having sex with this information, because we have to realize that it is a intercourse, right? This is an intercourse that we actually are doing. Now, that might sound a little weird with you, to some of you all, but this is an intercourse. Whenever you watch a movie, you're actually having intercourse with the movie. Whenever if you're like writing something, or like writing poetry or writing a story, whatever, you're having intercourse with your thoughts. That's what this is. Some people are going to be like, intercourse, because they're going to be thinking in that sort of way, right? But that's what's happening here. So if you think about it, since all these energies are turned within, what's really happening is that we are having intercourse with ourselves and we're learning more about ourselves. It's very, very quite interesting. Now let's kind of go through each of the retrograde planets, and then even I'm going to kind of go back. And there's there's a surprising similarity between this eclipse and there was one new moon solar eclipse that happened in Leo, and I believe it was in the 30s. It was very interesting because it shared some striking similarities to this. And I think this is kind of wrapping up a cycle from them, but this is also wrapping up a cycle that happened with the new moon solar eclipse that occurred in, I want to say 1999 or 2000. So, but here's the interesting thing about this eclipse, right? So it's at 18 degrees of Leo. It's about opening up our heart, having the courage and the strength to live our purpose, right? Having the courage and the strength to really live from our heart space, you know? And it's funny because you hear these things before. It's like, if money wasn't an object, what would you do? If money wasn't an object, what would you do with your life? Do what you love. That's how true happiness comes. That's how the money will come. That's how the abundance will come. And we hear these things. But we don't realize that that's actually the radical thing to do in this world. That's actually the radical thing to do, right? It's actually the radical thing to do in this reality, to follow your heart. Which is funny because, Leo's opposite of Aquarius, but Aquarius is just a different octave and vibration of the level of the energy of Leo, and vice versa, There's really technically only 6 signs, right? There's technically only 6 signs, because Leo and Aquarius are kind of the 2 sides of the same coin, right? Same with, the other big signs, Scorpio and Taurus, or, Sagittarius and Gemini, and so forth, But this is kind of, getting in there, A lot of people's like, they think it's just 12 signs. Really, it's 6 signs. If you want to get really technical, it's only 1 sign acting as all the other signs. But that's getting really in there. So, let's get a little bit more into this as far as these retrograde energies, because it's really interesting that we have 7 retrograde energies, and it's a great thing because 7 is like, when you think of the number 7, and I know it differs per culture and stuff like that, but at least here in the Western world, when you think of 7, you think of lucky number 7, right? It's a lucky number. It's a very spiritual number too. It's a number where it's a number of good fortune. So it's actually quite fortunate that we have all these planets retrograded, because we're really being asked by the universe to, since all these planets are retrograded, especially like Mars energy, we're being called to act, but we're being called to act in a different way. It's not like we have to try and force anything right now with the solar eclipse. Really, a lot of it's being taken care of for us. We just have to show up. That's kind of the cool thing about this energy. We have to kind of just show up and just tap into our hearts. Now, how does one do that? How do you tap into your heart? It's something that, just from what I've discovered, it's something that you really just have to, it's moment to moment, and it does require this radical trust to know what your heart is saying, and it can be clouded by a whole bunch of thoughts, fears, anxieties, but this is a great opportunity, this eclipse and this whole energy, this whole year, a great opportunity for you to step into your true power, to step into your true power. So let's look at the energies that are retrograde, right? And I wrote these down, and I'll kind of just read off my notes here. So the 7 retrograde energies that we have here. We have Mars at 0 degrees of Aries. This is our action and ego energy through the scope of Aquarius, the sign. So this is the humanitarian is gone. The superheroes are taking the day off, all right? Superman's not going to come save you. Batman's not going to come save you. Whoever your favorite superhero is, Captain America, I'm sorry, he's taking a break. They're at the beach. They're having Mai Tais. margaritas or hot tea if they don't drink, whatever. They are chilling. They are on chill mode during this eclipse. Mars has 0 degrees of Aquarius. You got to think about this. Mars is our action energy. It's the ego, and it's very much so about the self. Aquarius, kind of opposite of that, right? It's about, the masses and giving to other people, and it's about the humanitarian, that effort. So the fact that Mars, that energy is going to be at 0 degrees of Aquarius, means that it's not going to be there. So it's going to be like if you kind of have a freak out or whatever like that, you're going to be calling on, and I don't want to say that your guides aren't going to be there, because they are going to be there, but you have to meet them halfway. That's the thing about this energy. That's what I'm being told you. You have to meet them halfway, even not necessarily halfway. You have to meet them at least a quarter of the way, because they're not going to do all the work for you. That's the problem. Is a lot of times people, when people are like, when they connect to guides and the spirit guides, whatever like that and stuff, they will help you. But then it's like, it's just like you don't meet them. It's like you expect them to do the work for you. That's a big issue. So Mars at 0 degrees of Aquarius retrograde during the time of this eclipse means that the superheroes are taking a break. They're at the beach, they're in the mountains, or wherever they want to hang out at. They're on vacation. I'm not gonna. You can shine the bat signal in the sky all you want. Batman ain't coming. I'm sorry. That doesn't mean that evil's just gonna run rampant this day. It doesn't mean that. But it just means that the superheroes aren't gonna come. You have to become that person. You have to be your own hero. You have to be your own. You have to be your own star. You have to be your own star. Chiron is going to be retrograde at 1 degrees of Aries. So Chiron deals with past trauma, past life issues. I like to think of it, since this glyph is a key, I like to think of it as these potential doors that we want to open, but then we project this fear on what's behind that other door based off what's happened in the past. But if we have the courage to actually go through the door and heal that aspect, we actually gain a bit of a superpower. We gained a bit of a leg up. So it's happening through the scope of Aries. So this is about us, whether or not we can embrace who we are despite all of the, what did I put here? This is about whether we can embrace ourselves despite all the flaws that we've convinced ourselves that we supposedly have. Think about that. I'm going to say it again. This is about us, whether or not we can embrace who we are despite all of the flaws we have convinced ourselves that we supposedly have. Right? Because supposedly we have these flaws, and we convince ourselves of that, and we hurt ourselves because of it. And maybe we're just experiencing things. Maybe we're just going through the flow. Maybe we're just doing the best with our given resources. But no one's ever told us that. Because someone told us we were, you have to be this tall to ride this ride. And we were this tall. But really our heart was so big. But, we've all been there, right? We've all been gatekeeped, right? Where it's like, you have to be this tall to ride. Sorry, shrimp. Sorry, shorty. You can't ride because you're this, this, and this, and this. And you have to be of this class, right? It's about whether or not we can embrace ourselves for these supposed flaws that we think we have. Doesn't mean we have them, but we think we have them. And we put ourselves in that perception. That's retrograde during this time. Uranus at 2 degrees of Taurus. This is our rebellion energy, innovative, and I have to think of quantum electricity in many ways. Happening through the scope of Taurus. This is, as I said in many past videos, this is us renewing our vows to Mother Gaia, our bodies, our physical nature, and restructuring how we manifest our reality. Think about that. Because you have Uranus represents, it's the heavens, right? It's the god of the heavens, coming all the way down to earth, right? Trying to figure out all this stuff, and it's like, this is getting to the root, too. It's going to get to the root of the issue, And Uranus naturally wants to fix things, right? Aquarius naturally likes to fix things. But since it's retrograde, this isn't really about fixing anything. This is kind of almost about embracing changes and stuff. It's two fixed energies coming together, but also just learning to embrace, change and, wanting to connect more to the earth, wanting to connect more to Mother Gaia, realizing that this is all one. We're all part of one big ecosystem. And we are seriously going through this moment where we're restructuring how we manifest our reality, how we manifest our day-to-day life. New values that are more in line with this higher sense of self and who we are, not only as an individual, but as a collective, because this is Uranus energy. You have Saturn at 3 degrees of Capricorn also during this retrograde. This is our decision energy, our choosing energy, our ability to make it through tough situations, our ability to persevere and to climb this mountain, that energy. Through the Scorpio of Capricorn, so that's at its home, can we make the choices that will bring our life to the heights we wish to experience? That's what this is about. Can we make those choices? And do we believe that we actually are worthy of these experiences? Because it is going to be training Uranus and Taurus, right? And squaring Aries. So first of all, we have to forgive ourselves for the flaws that we think we have. Then we have to believe in our own power in order to innovate our day-to-day reality so we can make the right choices and reach the heights that we wish to experience. But you have to make some tough choices. So seemingly tough choices. You have to make some decisions. And it's all based in love, because that's where the new moon is. It's in Leo. It's all based in love. Mercury's at 14 degrees of Leo. So it's interesting how we go 0, 1, 2, 3, and then we kind of jump to 14. It's kind of interesting. This is our thoughts, our mind, communication energy through the scope of Leo. Can we speak from our hearts? Can we allow God, Goddess, and Source to speak through us? That's another thing, Can we allow it to speak through us? Do we have the courage to speak our truth regardless of how we think it will be perceived? Because that's a lot of times what happens. That a lot of times we don't say how we really want to say because we project on the others what we think they're going to think about what we say or do or act, right? Do we have the courage to speak our truth? Neptune at 15 degrees of Pisces. This is connection to spirit. This is magic, Naho, dreams. Through the scope of Pisces, it's home, right? Do you believe in the power of your imagination, dreams, and magic? Do you believe and are open to Source flowing through you? Are you open to connecting with all beings? And that's an interesting one. That's a tough one right now, right? Because you have to think about, Mars is retrograde in Aquarius. So we're like constantly at war with each other, it seems. Then Chiron at retrograde 1 degree of Aries as well. So it's like a lot of our ego energy, personal energy, it's being hit in an interesting way. But it's like, whether or not we are going to allow ourselves to open up to spirit, to Source, realizing that everything is one. Are you open to the fact that, magic is in the air? Magic is in you. You can create it. You are it. You have to consider that, Neptune's going to be trining Jupiter at this time. And Jupiter's wanting to expand upon that, but look where Jupiter is in. It's in Scorpio. So you have to overcome your fears. You have to overcome darkness, for perceived darkness. You have to overcome these deeper desires that you want to express, but you're afraid what other people are going to say. But perhaps if you actually do them, magic will happen. Miracles will happen. Yeah, think about that. We have Pluto at 19 degrees of Capricorn. This is our transformation energy through the scope of Capricorn. Are you willing to let go of control? Are you willing to let go of your traditions and allow them to transform? And that's a tough one. It's a biggie. Pluto's been working with that energy for a long time. Of course, Mars will retrograde back into Capricorn, back into Capricorn, literally the day after. But with 7 retrograde energies, and really the only energies that have no retrograde energy in it, like I said, it's like, and Leo is split too. So this is actually going to be kind of an interesting moment of almost like a change of heart. Even though the North Node is in Leo, some people might even experience a change of heart. Some people might, flip sides, or people who have been on the fence might finally pick a side. Or they might be like, I don't want to pick sides, I just want to be. That's really the best way to go, is the middle path, right? But it's interesting because Leo's gonna be kind of split down the middle as far as retrograde energies and non. Virgo, there's no energies in there, but it's within the energies of planets that are moving forward. It helps that Venus went all the way through Virgo and won't retrograde back into Virgo. It'll go into Scorpio later this year and retrograde back into Libra. But it's forward right now in Libra, so this is about, we're wanting to find peace and harmony, with ourselves and other people, of course, with life. And it's also going to be, of course, squaring Saturn during this time too. So that's another interesting thing about this. Oh, the music stopped. Why did the music stop? No, that's okay. I'm gonna play it off my computer instead. I don't think it was at the end because it was supposed to be a longer mix, and I don't think it was supposed to be stopped like that. But it's okay. It's all good. Things happen. And we're going to keep moving forward. Keep moving forward. All right. Okay. So, all right, where was I? Oh, yeah. So, we're talking about how this is a very rare eclipse because there's 7 energies that are retrograde, which means a lot of our consciousness is turned inward, where we're really focusing on our inner world and not so much about the outer world. And this is, like I said, it's a powerful portal of really beginning to understand yourself, and really like making a decision. It's like, are you going to follow your heart? Are you going to follow, your dreams, these deeper desires? And do you believe in the power of unconditional love? Do you believe in the power of just that unconditional love? Having that for yourself, and then, of course, for other people, and how that can really begin to transform your life. And one of the things I try to do, and I need to remind myself more and more of this, is that, how can I radiate love today? How can I radiate love today? And it's like, it's by really getting into your passions, about doing what you love every single day, or doing something that you love every day. That's how you radiate love. It's like, you don't necessarily have to tell anybody what you're doing either. Because it's funny, Mars retrograde in Aquarius. So this is not really a time to be, trying to show people or even tell people, oh, this is what I did today to help people. It's like, it's not even really about that either. This is about you just doing right by you and what feels right to you, right? About what feels right to you, what feels right in your heart, and just expressing that. And that's really going to be the way that you create positive, lasting change, is by radiating love, becoming that beacon, not trying to strive so hard to be it, striving so hard to be it, but to just be it. That's the thing. Sometimes I feel like we strive so hard to be something. We strive so hard, instead of just being and allowing. This new moon is a very allowing one. Since there's so many retrograde planets, it's like a lot of this is karmic. A lot of this is karmic, and a lot of the things are subconscious. A lot of it's subconscious. A lot of it, guys. It really is. So let's see. Okay. Let's see. I think it was. Let's see if I can find the right website. Okay, here it is, right here. Excellent. Okay. So let's see. I'm going to move this. I'm going to actually go back in time, then we're going to go forward in time. But I want to go back to the eclipse that happened. And I'm going to say, let's see. Was it 1999? Yeah, it was 1999. So let me just type this in here just to make sure. 1999. Yeah, so we had it was on August 11th, 1999. We had a total solar eclipse. And the interesting thing about this eclipse, that's actually kind of around the same time of day when they came exact. It's pretty close, anyways. But this one was also at 18 degrees of Leo. The retrograde planets that we had at this time is that we had Uranus, which was retrograde, so 1, Neptune retrograde, 2, and Pluto retrograde, 3, and Venus retrograde, 4. So we have 4 energies retrograde. So a decent amount of energy in the retrograde. So it's interesting because, comparing it to this one, there's no Capricorn energy. Neptune is close to where Mars was in Aquarius. Mercury had just entered into Mercury. I mean, Mercury had just entered into Leo during this time. And the North Node is at 12 degrees, so it wasn't quite as progressed through Leo as it is now. Venus was also in Virgo, but there were 4 retrograde energies at that point. So it's interesting because since it's 18 degrees, it's kind of starting a new cycle from that degree and from that moment. And at that time, we were really restructuring our beliefs and transforming our beliefs. We were trying to figure out how to spiritually connect with other people, and we're trying to really begin to innovate the way that we connect with other people. This is why the internet began to really blow up during this time. And once Venus was in Virgo, which is at its detriment during this time, we were also learning to open up to a new daily reality, a new daily way of living. So this is probably also when, since the internet was beginning to be born, and now you can work from the internet and stuff like that. So a new way of living, a new day-to-day reality was being born, and we're having to really restructure and transform our beliefs on what was possible. So the fact that we had those 4 energies retrograde during that moment, this is also during a major fixed square too. A major fixed square was happening at this time too. So we've obviously got progressed from that point. Now let's go back even further to the even before that, when the North Node was in Leo, which I want to say it was the 80s. Let's see, hold on. Okay, so I want to say it was 1980, but because I have 2 things up here, and it's actually kind of nice because this one website that I'm on actually lets you know when the eclipses were. So August 10th, 1980. Okay, so let's move this forward just a few hours so it's exact. So this eclipse was also at 18 degrees. So it seems like that degree is hit quite often. So it seems like we come to this point where we make decisions on what our heart wants and stuff. But it's interesting because this one was actually squaring Chiron, which was in Taurus at the time. Very interesting. It was actually exactly squaring it. And then it's also squaring Uranus, which was in Scorpio at the time. But the only retrograde energy that we had at this eclipse on August 10, 1980 was Neptune. Everything else was going forward. All right. Let's take it back further. The last time before 1980, when the North Node was here. Okay. Let's take it forward. Let's see. 1961. Check this back tab. So let's look at the year 1961. So August 11th, 1961 was another new moon solar eclipse that we had. All right. So August 11th, 1961. This was another eclipse that we had in Leo. Once again at 18 degrees. This one is actually the one that has a lot more similarities to the one we have now, only because of some of the placements are kind of interesting. Now, this one also had a Mercury that was at 14 degrees. So, but this one that we have right now, Mercury is retrograde, and this one Mercury was going forward. The other interesting thing about this one is that the moon and the sun were at 18 degrees, which is another similarity. But Jupiter is actually at 0 degrees of Aquarius retrograde. So that's another interesting thing. And I even kind of went back and looked at events that happened in 1961. And there was one thing that I saw that was somewhat significant. I think it was Kennedy was saying something about, you know, wanting to be in space by the end of the decade, I believe, was it in that year. Um, but it's interesting how Jupiter was retrograde at 0 degrees of Aquarius, you know, where Mars is right now retrograde. And then Mercury is at 14 degrees within a 3 to 4 degree orb of the 18-degree eclipse during that time. But as far as retrograde planets, there's only 3 in this chart. So it's like I was like scouring and looking to see if there are any other eclipses, that have, you know, 7 retrograde planets, and you just can't find any, guys. So this is really rare. Let's go forward. Let's hop forward in time, okay? So the next time the North Node will be around. Okay, let's see. So it's going to be 2036. And the interesting thing about this one is that I believe we actually get 2 eclipses in Leo. Yes, we do actually. So it's going to be July 23rd. Let's see, July 23rd. Yeah, July 23rd, 2036. We actually have, yeah, so this is in 2036, we'll actually get 2 of them, which is really interesting, right? And this one happens at 1 degree of Leo. So we'll get one at the beginning and one at the end. But this one, the only retrograde planet is Pluto. That's the only one. And they'll be at 20 degrees of Aquarius at that point. There's only one retrograde planet for this one. And then if we even move it forward to the next month, which is, August 21st, 2036, these are both partial eclipses, but it's still an eclipse. This one is happening literally at the edge of Leo at 29 degrees. So you get the first degree and the second degree. Only difference with this one is that now Neptune is retrograde. So we'll have 2 retrograde planets for this one. That's it. And Neptune will be retrograde at 26 degrees of Aries. So 7 retrograde planets. This is really a critical turning point. Major, especially considering that the next time that the nodes are in Leo, we're actually going to get 2 eclipses in Leo, one at the beginning and one at the end, which really is actually going to be a major test to see whether or not from now until then, over these next 18 years, whether or not we have followed our heart, whether or not we have lived from our heart space, whether or not we have stayed true to our heart, stayed true to our passion, stayed true to our authenticity, our love, our integrity, right? It's going to be major. We can even hop forward if you want to, because the next ones will be what, 2054-ish, I believe. Hold on, let's look. If you want to, go a little bit more into the future, why not? Let's hop into the time machine. So let's see. Yeah, I believe they'll happen in 2054. Is when the next ones will be. After. Okay, 2054. August 3rd, 2054. Right? This one will be at 11 degrees. And we have Saturn, which will be retrograde, Pluto, which will be retrograde, and Chiron, which will be retrograde. So there's only 3 planets. Only 3 planets will be retrograde. And I say only, but right now, with 7 energy planets retrograde, you kind of get a feeling of what's going on here. This is a major turning point, a major time of looking within, guys. This is huge. This is rare. This is an incredible, beautiful, and miraculous opportunity for us to really, really come into our own. Come into our own in a very powerful way. I'm going to draw cards for the whole collective. Just like I'm gonna draw 1 card from this. I'm gonna draw cards from each of the signs, and then I'll draw another card at the end, and then we'll get out. But this card that I'm about to draw is for the whole collective. It's kind of interesting because can't make this shit up. When I pulled out my deck the first time, I pulled it out my backpack, this card was actually on the bottom of the deck. It kind of came out. So, alchemy. All right, alchemy. The number is 8. Look at that. The frequency of alchemy activates our magical ability and remembrance of the magic that we all hold inside. Each one of us has the potential to access the ancient knowledge that allow the true alchemists to perform the miracles of transmutation. This is about really just this is definitely a lesson in alchemy. Learning to embrace all of who we are, learning to embrace a situation and then transform that situation to represent a higher nature, higher vibration, higher frequency. Being able to embrace and perceive a situation that you're going through and being able to work with it in such a way that we can see the positive, that we can see the unconditional love, feel it, understand it. We can realize like, oh yes, I might have self-sabotaged. Oh yes, I might have did that, but that was just setting me up to where I am right now. It was really just a beautiful gift in disguise. That's what we have to do. That's alchemy right there. It's true alchemy right there. So let's draw cards for each of the signs, right? All right. Aries, the card that we have for you for this new moon solar eclipse. Aries, we got the 10 of Cups. Wow, this is incredible. Emotional fulfillment. If you are in a relationship, you're definitely going to be feeling good. You're going to be feeling positive. Of course, this is your 5th house that this is happening in. So, you especially, Aries, excuse me, if you follow your heart, you're really going to be feeling the love. You really are. Of course, like I said, this is a new moon, so emotions are playing into this. So, you're going to be feeling love. You're going to be feeling alive. You're going to be feeling like things are moving forward. You're going to be really feeling emotionally like just fulfilled and uplifted. And it's going to be quite amazing. Taurus, the card that we have for you, this new moon solar eclipse is. Okay. Taurus, we have the Queen of Pentacles. This is awesome. This is that Gaia energy coming through. So you're gonna definitely want to connect to Earth some point over the weekend. You do it tomorrow or Saturday or Sunday. Excuse me. So sorry about that, guys. On Sunday, definitely want to get some type of grounding in. Go outside, get into nature, put your feet in the dirt. But also, this is really saying that in order for you to really manifest the life that you really want, you have to be open to the fact that you've already manifested it. Otherwise, you wouldn't have even have the imagination of what it could be. It's already existed. You had to receive the connection somewhere. You had to receive the download somewhere. It's already there. You just have to be open to receiving it. Gemini, the card that we have for you. Gemini, as I like to say. Gemini. All right. Gemini, we have the Knight of Swords. So this could be talking about, of course, another air sign, either Gemini, such as yourself, Libra, or an Aquarius. But really, what I see this as is you, Gemini, are going to be kind of taking your sword of truth. You're going to just be going to take your sword of truth, Gemini, and you're just going to be just dashing through. You're just really expressing who you are, expressing your truth, and not really holding back. You're going to be driving your sword through these doubts, these fears, and these worries that people project onto you. And really, this is about, for you, Gemini, since this is, this is your third house, this is about you really speaking from your heart, but really speaking from your heart. Now, some people might not necessarily get it. Some people might try to make you into an enemy. Some people might try to make you into, they might try and paint you in a certain way, but do not compromise your integrity. Do not compromise your truth, Gemini. Stay true to who you are, okay? Cancer, the card that we have for you. Cancer, the card that we have for you is the Four of Wands. This is a beautiful card. It's one of my favorite cards in the deck. A lot of times you like to look at this as like the marriage card, or it's time to party, or it's time to celebrate. Since this is happening for you in your second house, I really see this as you actually learning to marry yourself. Really beginning to take what you want, what you desire as numero uno, as primo, really taking care of your own self, Cancer. This is about you reestablishing vows with your own self, your self-love, your self-confidence, your self-worth, really feeling that you actually have the creativity and the passion to move forward in your life in the way that you wish to see. But in order to do that, you have to marry yourself, Cancer. So hold a nice little ceremony for yourself over this weekend and marry yourself. And seriously, write your vows to yourself and go all out, go all out. Even go on a honeymoon or something like that, And of course, like honeymoon, I mean, like, you can take yourself to like a nice dinner or whatever like that. Or if you even got it like that too, if you got like that, you should take yourself on a nice vacation somewhere. If you got it like that, you really can marry yourself, say your vows to yourself, and then go to the freaking beach, man. Like just go and do it and just really just feel that gratitude for feel the gratitude. Just feel that gratitude. I don't know why that's coming through right now, but just gratitude, gratitude, gratitude. If anything, Cancer, just stepping into the vibration of gratitude is really going to have you embrace that energy, the Four of Wands. Leo, the card that we have for you for this new moon solar eclipse, powerful Lion's Gate, is we also have the Queen of Pentacles. So it's interesting. I wonder if Scorpio will get the Queen of Pentacles and Aquarius, but you got the Queen of Pentacles as well. So for you, since this is in your house, you're going to be manifesting this on a pretty, personal level. Your level of abundance. But this is really about you opening up to your heart. And this is interesting. Look at where she's holding this, what is it, like a leaf or like a flower? She is holding it over her heart space. So she's actually literally manifesting it. So it's going to be that's going to be kind of where your energy is at, Leo. It's like you're really going to be, manifesting from your heart place. And then based off of really how you feel about yourself, your level of self-worth and confidence and stuff, you're really going to begin to see your life transform to reflect the way that you really feel about yourself, and whether or not you can express that divine unconditional love for yourself and then therefore other people, and whether or not you can step into the vibration of radiating love every day and really speaking your truth, living your passion and the creativity. All right, Virgo, the card that we have for you is we have the King of Cups. So yes, Cancer or Scorpio or Pisces could be playing a role in your life, but I kind of see this as Pisces energy. I'm seeing this as Virgo. Venus just went through your sign, and Venus is impatient when it gets to your sign, only because it's about to get to Libra, right? So Venus naturally gets pretty impatient once it reaches this spot. So it's like it was trying to figure out all the details and stuff like that, and it's trying to become open to all this stuff, but you know, went through there, did the spring cleaning, and now it's in Libra where it can feel like be eating on grapes and stuff. And you would think I'm talking about Libra, but really, Virgo, you might be still feeling a little frustrated, because it's like, you know, you felt like you needed a little bit more time to focus on these things. But Venus just went through your sign and blazed through it. This is about you trusting in your intuition. This is about you trusting in spirit. This is about you trusting in your imagination. And it's like, yeah, you might not have all the details. Yeah, you might feel like there's some loose ends to tie up. Yeah, you might feel like people don't necessarily get the magnitude of what's happening here. But I think if you tap into a deeper space, I think if you listen to your intuition, you'll really know what decisions to make with this eclipse. Okay? Libra. The card that we have for you is Libra, 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 Libra. What do we have for you for this new moon solar eclipse? Oh, there you go. We have the Page of Wands for you, Libra. So an earth sign, a fire sign could be playing an important role for you. During this eclipse, a Leo, an Aries, or a Sagittarius could be playing an interesting role for you. And it really actually could be, because this is your 11th house. So this person, I feel, is, I think this is a person that you're wanting to try and find some type of balance with. You're wanting to try and figure out whether you belong with this person, whether your energies belong to each other. You're trying to find some peace and harmony, trying to figure out, the role of this person within your life. The only way that you're really going to figure that out is if you really find peace within yourself. And whether you come to the conclusion this person is meant to stay in your life, or they're meant to have a particular role, and you kind of, you inform them of that, or you just, you inform them of that because you're not wanting to just hide, behind anything. You're wanting to be open about it, right? But this is really about you gauging, this particular person, where do they belong in your life? What role do they play? But and this could potentially, and this is for some of you all, not all of you, but some of you all, you have put this person at like number one in your life, and you actually need to put yourself at number one, right? And that's not to say that you just become ego-driven, like megalomaniac, and just are only out for yourself and fuck everyone. That's not what it means. It means that you, and I'm going to get I'm going to get pretty graphic here. You came out of your vagina. You came out of your mom's vagina by yourself. No one came with you. Even if you're a twin, y'all didn't come out at the same time. like you didn't, right? So you come first. It's okay. Love yourself first. It's okay. This person can be a huge influence in your life, Libra. They could be your significant other. They could be a parent, a brother or sister, a sibling, a cousin, a colleague, someone you really look up to. But are you putting yourself first? Are you putting yourself first, Libra? That's what you're going to be asking yourself. Scorpio. Scorpio, Scorpio, Scorpio. The card that we have for you. All right, Scorpio, what do we got? Scorpio, we have the King of Pentacles. So it's interesting how we got the Queen of Pentacles for, the first two fixed signs, but then for you, we get the King of Pentacles. So this is kind of interesting, and I think this is mainly because Jupiter is in your sign, and even though Jupiter is an Earth energy, you're definitely kind of thinking more about the future and what you can manifest, what's possible. And that's great. I think it's awesome that you're wanting to look forward to the future about what's possible, what you can manifest. I still say, because this is an earth energy, you kind of want to open up to your roots. You kind of want to open up to the source of who you are. You want to open up to these deeper aspects of yourself. And the King of Pentacles, he's not someone who necessarily just rushes into action. He still thinks things through. He's still methodical. And there might even be a tendency for you, because Jupiter is going forward, and since you are one of the signs, on the only signs that has forward moving energy transiting it, you might have this bit of want and urge to kind of move things forward and try and make decisions and take actions and quickly, but you still want to kind of, build things through and, just, it's gonna sound weird, but kind of be practical about it and still believe in the power of your dreams and your imagination, because Jupiter is trining Neptune, right? So still obviously believe in the power of your dreams and really believe in magic, and but still just like, embrace the dream and just know that you really can manifest that abundance, but also just divine timing. A tree doesn't grow in a day. You know, a tree doesn't grow in a day. A flower doesn't grow in a day. It takes time to water things and allow the sun to hit it, to give it tender love and care. So whatever you're working on, give it tender love and care. Tender love and care. Just give it tender love and care. And it's okay, even if it's just one step a day or even a half step a day. You're moving towards whatever it is that you're building for yourself. And that's a beautiful thing. Before you know it, you'll be there and you'll be like, wow, this is amazing. You'll appreciate it. And I'm feeling the same thing that I felt with was it Gemini or Cancer, but of gratitude, because there's no doubt. I believe you're going to reach your destination. I really do believe you're going to reach your destination, but it's like you don't want to become jaded when you get there. Have gratitude for where you are right now, because where you are right now is incredible. It's beautiful. It's divine, right? But keep moving forward, Scorpio. Sagittarius, the card that we have for you. Saggy. Swagatarius, as I like to say. Swagatarius, the card that we have for you is the Three of Wands. So similar to Scorpio, you're kind of looking towards the future and stuff. You're really trying to scope to see okay, where can I go next? And since for you, this is the ninth house. So in many ways, you can actually rule the ninth house, right, Sagittarius? So this is interesting for you because it's like you really was like, okay, what else is possible? Where can I go next? What adventure am I going to go on next? And you're really kind of getting pumped up for when Jupiter comes into your sign. But first, you do have to open up to what your heart wants. It's like you can go to one of so many different places. Do you want to go see the ocean? Do you want to climb a mountain? Do you want to go to the desert? Where do you want to go, Sagittarius? Where do you want to go? So this is going to be a time where you're kind of deciding on where to go next, because you really do have this vision of, wanting to go and explore your options, right? But this is a time where it's like you're going to be kind of gazing out at this beautiful landscape, and you're going to be like, wow, I have so many options. I can go to different places, but what does my heart want? Where do I want to explore? All right. Capricorn, the card that we have for you for this new moon solar eclipse. Oh, it just flipped up. We have the Ace of Swords. Ace of Swords. Definitely a powerful shifting moment for you, because this is your 8th house, so it's a transformation. And of course, the planet of transformation is in your sign, making a king comes over to this energy. That's something I didn't mention earlier, but we do have the awkward stare from across the room between Pluto and the sun and the moon. The moon. So it's like, are you ready? Are you ready? And I have a wand here too. It's actually more of a staff, but I have this here too, guys. So are you ready to really live that life, to express yourself, to live your passions, Capricorn? Are you ready to climb? The funny thing is, because we have to consider that the next day, Mars is going to retrograde back into your sign. It's going to retrograde back to 28 degrees before it goes forward, but it's going to come back into your sign literally the next day. And Mars is exalted in your sign, so you have these three energies in your sign, and it's like Saturn's home here, Mars is exalted here, but what's in the middle of it? Pluto, which means that in order for you to get to where you want to go, you are going to have to make some tough decisions, but you're going to have to believe in yourself and know that on the other side of that transformation is incredible opportunity, an incredible life. It really is. Not that your life isn't already incredible. It really just takes an altering of perception. But on the opposite side of that, you still have goals, you still have dreams, you still have things that you want to strive for. Opposite side of that transformation is a life really worth living. Aquarius, the card that we have for you is the Eight of Wands. Card just kind of popped out. So this is definitely speaking to some type of rapid development and things kind of moving forward in a rather quick way. And for you, this is the seventh house. This has to do with relationships, right? So if you are in a relationship, Aquarius, you might find yourself, if you had just met this person, you might find yourself just falling just madly in love with this person. And you just realize that it's like, oh, I know we've only known each other for a month, but you want to live in? Like, and that's kind of weird for you because you like your space and stuff, being Aquarius, but you might really fall for this person, right? If you're a couple, you might just notice that you and your partner are really, your life is really about to shift forever. Like, and I can even say this from my own experience. My fiance, she's about to go back to school for the first time in like a couple of years. That's pretty exciting. So things are really moving forward for her. She is an Aquarius, and I'm about to start investing more of my time and energy into this. So the dynamic of our day-to-day life is actually going to be shifting, and it's happening here pretty quickly here soon. Who knows what the end of the year is going to bring? So, but primarily what this is, because since these energies are happening in Leo, and since there's so much retrograde energy, including Mars in your sign, there will be rapid development within your relationships, but it's first going to happen within the relationship that you have with yourself. And that's really what's important, Aquarius. It's embracing who you are. And Pisces, the card that we have for you is as a really quick tidbit to Aquarius, don't be afraid to get like mushy, gooey love. I know it sounds very weird and gross, but don't be afraid to feel into that. Don't be afraid to feel into that. Pisces, the card that we have for you is Pisces. We have the Empress. I would say that everyone really got very positive cards. And that's the thing about this eclipse. I think it's a very super amazing positive eclipse because I think that, yes, there are going to be changes. Yes, things are going to shift. But I think it's overall going to be super magical and super positive. The Empress for you, Pisces, is saying that you're really going to be feeling super creative. Not only that, but your day-to-day reality is about to become super creative. This is in your sixth house. So you're really about to decorate your day-to-day reality based off what's in your heart. And your day-to-day reality is just going to become so magical, so amazing, so divine if it isn't already. But it's just really, you're going to be really tapping into that space. You're going to be really tapping into that part of yourself. And I like to think of the Empress as almost sort of like its higher Denison representation of the Gaia energy as well. So it's kind of similar to what Taurus got and Leo got, but you have the Empress, so it's really kind of like it's gonna be really awesome. You're gonna be really tapping into spirit in a very super powerful way with this eclipse, and it's just gonna really alter your day-to-day reality. And the final card that I have for everyone for this new moon solar eclipse, which is about radical courage and bravery, radical authenticity, and self-love. Believing in ourselves, believing in the magic, and really harnessing that energy, that roar from the depth of our core, from the depth of our being. Whether or not we really can truly follow our heart, believe in ourselves, regardless of what's happened or what we think has happened. The card that I have for everyone. Well, bottom of the deck is synergy. But I have integration, and it's great because integration really goes well with alchemy. The frequency of integration supports our embrace of every aspect of ourselves, allowing what we perceive as positive and what we perceive as negative to harmonize and balance in a balanced symphony of life. These two cards go so well together. And it's interesting because we have the card of synergy, which is about synergizing and bringing energies together. So we are really learning to alchemize and integrate all these different aspects of ourselves. We have a lot of timelines collapsing in on each other, right? A lot of coils collapsing in on each other. It's going to create this spark, this divine spark. And we all are beautiful diamonds. There's a lot of pressure right now, yes. With all these energies turning inward, we're not being asked to do much. We're simply asked to embrace all of who we are and integrate positive and even what we perceive as negative to harmonize. To harmonize. This is a lesson in alchemy. This is a true lesson of alchemy and learning to synergize with these energies, to allow the not so obvious to come in, to allow ourselves to be guided by the universe and source and God, to allow ourselves to let go and be free, be us, be free, be us, be love, and radiate that love. Very powerful, powerful, powerful moment here. And I'm so glad and grateful to be a part of it with you all. That is it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed it. I know it was long. But, you know, with events such as this, and events such as this week, it's just, you know, you have to kind of experience it for yourself, you know. You have to experience it for yourself. And it's like, it's gonna play out kind of differently for everyone, of course, but you know, we're all in this together. That's really what it comes down to. We're all in this together. So love you all so much. Thank you so much for joining me on this video, my beautiful brothers and sisters. If you would like to get a personal reading with me, you can always follow the link in the description below to the Aquarianadepts.com. And always remember, my beautiful brothers and sisters, to keep moving forward, to stay focused, and Yahoo! Smile often.